So when you're first getting started recording with video, you typically are just using your phone and you find a microphone to use and you start doing videos like this and you can get really great quality. But one of the things that I have right now with the camera I'm using is that I can see myself. I have, the app that I can record via Wi-Fi, and the microphone can hook directly into the camera. And as simple as that sounds, when you're first getting started, you may have a budget, you may have confusion around the different tools and all the stuff that's built into these little computers, and it can be frustrating. So today I'm going to be walking you through what my mindset was when I was purchasing some of the different cameras that I currently have on the table right now, as well as other ones that I've owned, why I wish I hadn't bought some, and just how I got to where I am today, and hopefully help you figure out which cameras to avoid and how expensive some of the cheaper ones can actually wind up being in the long run. So if that's something up your alley and you want to just sit and chat with me today about some camera stuff, stick with me. We're going to be talking about it coming up next. Hey, what's up guys, it's Diana here with Entree Women TV, helping you transition your passion into the business that you love. And on this channel, I do small business development tips as well as video marketing tips. So if that's something up your alley, definitely consider subscribing. So I want to get started with my very first real camera that I bought for the business, which was this point and shoot camera. Now, just know, as we're talking about cameras, the specific make and model and all that doesn't matter. So the specific specs aren't as important as just the basic features that typically come with these kinds of cameras. So with the point and shoot camera, I have a coaching business, so I'm using my phone all the time for text messages. I'm watching videos and stuff like that. I'm doing a lot of work already on my phone, and I was already recording a lot of videos and stuff like that on the phone, and it just was not working out. The front facing screen, so I could make sure I'm at least lined up and all that kind of stuff, also wasn't working out because it's usually a worse camera on the front than it is on the back of the phone. So knowing that I wanted a dedicated camera that, it had better HD quality and, had a lens that could actually zoom in, and it's not like a pinch to zoom type feature, but I wanted something that was really good quality, could take really good pictures, and this one does. And so I was super impressed with it. But there were some things that I didn't know about it. So this one being like the original vlogger camera, back in, like 2010, YouTube's kicking off. A lot of people are just taking their basic cameras from Walmart like this, $100, $300, something like that. And you could just take it and you could go vlog. It didn't matter. But one of the things is that it doesn't have a built-in microphone. It only has the one on the front, or not on the front, but on the top. So when you're holding it, there'd be a lot of times just the motion of being near the microphone, just touching it, and you hear a lot of noise. And so that's something that kind of ruins it when you're doing video. Well, also you can cover it up with your hand, and it's just the one little thing, and it's sitting on top, so it's not even picking up audio from the front. That's a problem. And then also there's another issue that the smartphone had as well, is that it does not have any type of flip up screen, tilted, nothing. So I still couldn't see, but at least I could set it up and, put on a tripod and stuff like that. Well, some other issues that the point and shoot camera would typically have, it doesn't have a lot of, app capabilities. Right now, I'm connected to, an app using my phone and the camera and stuff like that. And I'll get into that a little bit later as we get into the DSLR and mirrorless cameras. But with these basic point and shoot cameras, you don't have that, capability. It doesn't have Bluetooth. It doesn't have Wi-Fi. And a lot of times when they do, it's really cheap, it's really bad, and it doesn't have as good image quality. So no flip out screen, no microphone, big issue. And it's only so many times that you want to go into editing and you're trying to sync up the audio that you plugged into your phone with the camera. It's just too much of a headache. But this was a great starter camera. Would I recommend it? No, because again, it runs into a lot of the same issues that you have with your phone, and at least you can plug a lapel microphone or something into your phone, even shotgun microphones, and a lot of great accessories that are out there now for smartphones. So these now have no purpose, but back in the day they did, and I thought it still worked. But I mean, it's a good option, but really not worth it. Okay, so next up you have the higher end point and shoot cameras, and you have like your action cameras. Now, the thing with these is that they're very similar in a lot of ways, and some, pros and cons with these. So these, may run you from anywhere to $300 all the way up to $1,000 for some of them. This is not a GoPro. This is a No Pro. This is this is actually a different 4K action camera, and a lot of great features that some pros, some cons, but it does the basic needs of what I want. This is a higher end point and shoot camera. This is my Panasonic ZS70. Again, it doesn't matter the specifics on it, but some of the things that were really, really awesome about having this, I didn't buy this second. This one actually came later, but it would make sense as far as in the upgrade process, comparing it to your original point and shoot cameras. Now you have these higher end ones that have a much longer zoom range, so you can really, actually, let me go way out there. So much longer zoom range than a lot of the other basic point and shoot cameras. You also have the biggest pro, which is a flip up screen. And yes, it is that serious. So when you are vlogging and you're recording yourself, or even if you're sitting it on a tripod, at least you can see if you have it slanted or if it's pointed down and the video, top of the video is right here. At least you can see those things from the beginning. So these are super, super cool and really, really neat. And one of the biggest pros about having these kind of higher end cameras is the quality is way better. You have way better, pro video as well as pro photo. Again, this one has 4K video. This one also has 4K video in it as well, even though it's it's not your top of the line, name brand camera, but they have a lot of great features. Two things that these types of cameras will share in common is that you have USB charging ports. So you can charge the camera straight with the battery in it, just with a USB cord. You can plug it directly into the wall or into a battery bank. So the portability on these are incredible. So just last night I was using this particular action camera, getting some footage, and it's not too bad in low light capability. With its low light capabilities, this one not so much, but it just depends on the specific cameras. But the fact that when the battery goes down, I can swap it out and get a different one, but at the same time I can charge it right in the camera. So minimizes carrying around a bunch of stuff, and it works out really, really great. And even for some of these different type of devices, when it comes to the higher end point and shoot cameras or some of these action cameras like your GoPros and stuff like that, is that even though this one doesn't have a flip out screen, it can connect to the app in the same way like I'm recording using the app right now with my mirrorless camera on my phone. You can be able to see yourself, get the footage that you need, start and stop the recordings. Even with this one with Panasonic, I can connect this one to the Panasonic image app and literally zoom in with the phone. I don't physically have to do that. So it's a really, really high quality stuff, but there's still some cons that come along with it. So some of the issues that I ran into, this one is expected when it comes to no microphone input. Both of these share this. Now there are some action cameras, some GoPros that have a microphone input via the USB. I've never worried about that with that because this isn't the prime recorder that I'm using or anything like that. Microphones can be a little bit tough and they can really tend to suck from camera to camera with these action cameras, so that's something to be wary of. But microphones actually aren't that bad. I found that Panasonic cameras have some of the best preamps or built-in audio amps in the cameras, and the point and shoots are no different. So this one, I got this one for about $300, and even though the microphone is on top, which I have the little hair covering it to make a wind muff, but it runs into the same problems like the original point and shoot cameras. So even though I have the flip up screen, 4K video, and all the things, connect via app and whatever else, I still don't have a microphone input. And so that can be a problem. Again, just syncing the audio in post-production sucks, takes up unnecessary time, and if you get it wrong, then your mouth will be saying one thing and then the audio is someplace else, and that's just crazy. So let's go ahead and upgrade one more time to a DSLR or mirrorless camera. So I don't own a DSLR camera anymore. I've upgraded to mirrorless. And what that means basically is that there's no mirror box in here. So there's just a really slim profile with it. Now, there's more to it than that, but we're not going to get into all the details. Now, there are a lot of pros and there are some could be cons when it comes to DSLR or mirrorless. So let's do DSLR first. So with your typical DSLR camera, any of the brands typically, they usually share a lot of the same features that mirrorless has. And mirrorless is the new kid on the block, and it's been around for a few years and really, really great developments that are happening with it. Some of the issues that you run into, that I was running into when I was using a DSLR camera, is the fact that not all of them have good audio preamps. So even though it may have a microphone input, which a lot of them do, there are very few that I think do or that don't, but there's usually some kind of microphone input. Canon is known to be one of the worst ones when it comes to audio preamps in the camera, and I had a Canon T5i. Canon T5i is comparable to the Canon M3 when it comes to the specifications and all that. But the audio preamp in the Canon M3 is way better than the T5i. So that's something that, even though it has the microphone input, it's going to get like that noise. And if you hear any noise right now, it's really not from the camera. It's because I have the air conditioner on, so you're hearing that noise. So if I'm quiet, you could probably hear it just a little bit, but it's not a lot. And if I completely turn it off, then that noise will be gone. But that's the thing with it. So you have that audio issues. You typically have a 30-minute recording limit. So with my Panasonic camera, I don't have any recording limits. For as long as the battery will run, for as much memory as I have storage-wise in the memory card, this camera will continue to record, and it does not overheat. So you didn't have any overheating issues when it came to a lot of the DSLR cameras. But they're bigger, they're bulkier, they're typically heavier. Some of them didn't have, any image stabilization. So as shaky as you are, that's what you're going to see. And it was some other different things with it. But when I had my Canon T5i, it was perfect. In my opinion, it was perfect. There are some things that differ between mirrorless and DSLR that made one better than the other. And one of those things was Wi-Fi. When you're recording by yourself and you are doing a video like this, you have to account for the fact that, you have those two factors. You have the confusion factor and the time factor. So if you have a limited window to record, let's say you have 1 hour to record as much content as you're going to record, that's typically the length that your toddler is going to nap for. And so you have to make the most of that time. You've researched, you've got all your titles and stuff that you want to do for your videos. Now it's time to record. You don't want to be running into issues like, oh man, the audio was messed up, or 30 limit record limit and I couldn't see the screen, and just all of that different stuff. So one of the things that I was having with my Canon T5i is the 30-minute recording limit. Well, the good thing is though too, I had a flip out screen so I could see if I'm over that limit. But it's really not too many cons when it comes to a DSLR camera. It's just more or less your personal preference. So even though you may have the limit, you're messing up, whatever, that's fine. You can always start and stop. But not having Wi-Fi made that more and more difficult, because now you're really having to start all the way over. So one of the things that can be seen as a pro or a con, depending on how you look at it, is the specific SD cards that are needed to go with a DSLR or a mirrorless camera. Now, let's say for the Canon M50, for example, this camera is geared towards, the vlogger, the entry-level person that's just kind of getting into videography and, photos and stuff like that. They maybe want to travel and all kinds of stuff. The SD card that comes with the Canon M50 sucks. In my opinion, it really does suck. When I'm doing a video like this, this particular video is only probably going to be a 3 or 4 minute recording in itself, because when I'm done talking, I'm going to stop the recording. However, let's say I was doing multiple videos or the entire video recorded within the 30-minute segment, mess ups and everything included, just one straight video. With the Canon M50 and the SD card that comes with it, it's actually going to chop it up. So it'll be a 4-minute clip, a 7-minute clip, and it's just all this random weird stuff. And I haven't quite figured out why it does that specifically with the memory card, or what specification makes it not good enough to just have one long 30-minute recording versus all of these little chopped up recordings and stuff like that, is the memory card. So when I put in a better memory card, I don't have that problem. It records for the entire 30 minutes on one file. Again, when you're first getting started and you're trying to figure out, well, where's the part at where I did this, or where's the, it's just extra stuff that's ridiculous. So as you get better cameras or cheaper cameras, it also requires a better SD card. And that could be seen again as a pro or a con, because depending on the price, some can be more expensive than others, and you typically want, you know, at least a 32 gigabyte card. I started with 16 gigabyte cards, but it's just not worth it. It's better just go ahead and at least start with 32 gigabytes and get a good SD card. But once you do, then you don't have to worry about like the camera like the Canon M50 chopping it up with that, you know, silly card that's in there now. So I just used that one with one of the point and shoot cameras, and it works out fine, like in the ZS70, and just for like the snippet recordings that I do with it anyway. So that's something to consider, and it's just kind of like a pro or a con, it depends. So which ones do I not recommend? So at the end of the day, I would typically say, unless you need an action camera, you don't need an action camera. I like to use it for when I'm recording in the car and I'm doing different ones, and like I've been uploading my vlogs to IGTV, and you can see those there. I'm starting to incorporate more of those there. And then also this is good when you want to, you know, put it on your bicycle. If you're traveling out and you want to vlog and get some footage and stuff like that, these are really neat. And then they can go places that your regular cameras can't, and you can get a lot of creative shots with it as well. So if you catch one on a discount, then it's not any harm or hurt using these. But the point and shoot cameras like this one, I would leave it alone. It's just at this point where we are in 2018, moving into 2019, it's really no point whatsoever. You don't have a flip out screen. They do basic HD recording videos. You don't have a microphone input, and it's not going to give you better quality than what you could get with your phone, even if you have a free phone that comes with, you know, your basic smartphone package at any local store. When it comes to these higher end point and shoot cameras, these are good for certain things. I do like these for impromptu vlogging. I do like these just to, if, you know, let's say you go into an event, let's say a football game, and they say that you can't have a camera where the lens comes off, so no interchangeable lens cameras, then my Canon M50 is useless, my J85 is useless. But this is a 4K capable camera with good audio preamps in it, and the zoom is ridiculously crazy on it. So this is a good camera to have in a pinch, you're traveling or something like that, tight spaces, stuff like that. So this one is good for that, and it depends on if you're going to use it, then it's worth having. But at the end of the day, the best bang for your buck is absolutely going to be a mirrorless camera, because I can guarantee you over time, it doesn't matter if you have the Canon G7X Mark II, for example. A lot of people have those point and shoot cameras and stuff like that, higher end point and shoot cameras. You're still going to find that you are incrementally moving your way up. And for the price that you can get some of these cameras now, like this camera doesn't even cost as much. This camera is $1,000, and now it, probably can. I've seen you can pick some up for $500 and $600, which is starting to get into the price range of some of these cameras. So if you can get this kind of quality at this kind of price, it's worth just go ahead and get all of the stuff that you need, really future-proofing yourself moving forward, because we haven't even gotten to the point where 4K video is the norm for all the stuff that you see online, and the resolution on smartphones is in 4K and stuff like that. We're still pretty much in a 1080p phase. HD video is still good to go, but you future-proof yourself and your content by not having to worry about it. You give a lot more creative abilities that you have with these kind of cameras, Wi-Fi capabilities. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So it's definitely worth the bang for your buck to go ahead and invest in a good camera. If you're going to be doing some serious recording, if you're wanting to take your business seriously when it comes to video marketing, and you want to have a dedicated camera. That's not to say that you can't use your smartphone. There's one channel that I definitely want to recommend to you guys, and it's called iPhoneographers, and I'll link that up in the iCard above there. iPhoneographers is an amazing, incredible channel. I just like to watch it simply from their thought process when it comes to videos and stuff like that, but they use iPhones, hence the channel name, and you know, they use some Samsung phones and stuff like that. Another one is the Moment Lens channel. They make cinema type lens for smartphones and just incredible stuff. So you can get a lot out of your phone, but if you specifically want a camera, I think mirrorless cameras is the way of the future. And I really wanted to crank this video out, and it's probably a little longer video than what I have been producing on the channel as of recently. Try to keep it at 10 minutes or less, and I'll try to cut this one as short as possible, but it's probably a longer video. But when it comes to these camera manufacturers, we're heading in September 2018. And the reason why I wanted to get this video out now is because it's important to kind of pay attention to what's going on in the market and where things are going. And so like you have, you know, shotgun microphones like this versus this one, and trying to figure out which one do you need, which one is better, and blah, blah, blah. And once you figure out the camera that you want to use, you'll be able to figure out what accessories are you going to need with it, because that's the stuff nobody talks about. When you get these cameras and you buy certain ones, what limitations does it have that's going to make you buy extra stuff, or is it an all-in-one package and you really don't have to buy a whole lot? If I had gotten a mirrorless camera to begin with, I just would have had a tripod and a microphone, and that's it. I wouldn't have bought any of the other things that I eventually bought. I wouldn't have bought some of these other cameras that I eventually bought, and I could have saved myself a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of money. But with these camera companies getting ready to really go into a mirrorless wars, so to speak, between who's better at this and that and whatever, prices of cameras like these, like the Canon 50, this camera was originally $1,000. I think I got it at a little bit of a discount for like $900 and something after taxes and all of that. And now, you know, I'm seeing like the Canon M6 that I had that was $899 going for $460, and this camera may be going for like $500 or $600. And so as they begin to produce these newer mirrorless cameras and they come out, these cameras will go down in price, but the quality is still awesome. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, just in my sharing and my thought process and some of the good and bad between some of these different cameras. And I hope that this video brought some value to you. Definitely let me know what type of camera is more your style. Are you more like action camera point and shoot, or more DSLR and mirrorless type styles? And do you have a specific brand and model in mind that you want to buy or that you did buy? So let me know down in the comments down below. But thanks for checking out today's video. If you want to check out the video where I talked about some things to look forward to if you're trying to upgrade a camera that you have, make sure you click or tap the screen right there. And for another playlist on where I talk about, you know, just some of the best tech that to look for, some really budget-friendly stuff that works really well, like the lapel microphone that I'm using, make sure you click or tap the screen right there. But as always, my friends, live with passion. I'll see you guys on the next video.